Hi everyone, Charlene Ortiz here. I'm sorry, I know it's been so long since I've uploaded a video. I think it's been like 2 months since I've been able to get to doing a video for my channel. For those of you who are newly subscribed, welcome to the channel, and thank you so much for subscribing. And I'm so sorry that I haven't been able to provide new content for you. As I've mentioned in my past video, I am still driving for Lyft, which I still absolutely love and I'm really enjoying it. But it definitely is taking most of my time. And when I'm done, I'm absolutely exhausted. On the days off, well, I only have been giving myself like one day off. That's when I do laundry and catch up on the things I need to do. And I just have had zero time and energy to be able to focus on my channel. And so tonight I ended early because I really just wanted to sit down and do a video for you guys because it's just been so long. And I'm sorry I haven't been consistent. And I'm doing the rental program with Lyft. And the unfortunate thing about that is that you have to do like a certain number of rides and you'll get credit towards the rental, but because of my health and how unpredictable it is and that I get really tired or I might have a flare-up, whatever, I can never get the amount of rides I need to get in to get any kind of credit. So any money that I make for that week, $250 is deducted from that, like every single week, so it's $1,000 a month. And we really need to buy a car, but we just don't have the money for a down payment, and we just can't afford to buy a car. And it's like a catch-22. You know, if I was able to keep all the money that I make when I'm driving for Lyft, I would be able to save more money to buy a car. But because they take, you know, a huge chunk of the money that I make every week, which isn't that much to begin with, I'm only left with maybe a couple $100 afterwards. And I just feel like it's gonna be forever before we can buy a car. But right now it is our situation. And it is a way for us to have a car because we need to have one. And especially for me, I cannot take the bus, especially when it's 110 degrees outside. I did try it for a while and it was killing me. It was making me so sick. So anyway, that's the situation we're in right now. That's why I've had to work so much and I just haven't had time or energy to focus on doing videos for you guys, which is what I really want to be doing. That's obviously what I wish I could do full time, but right now that's just not the case. So today I wanted to talk about a topic that I know a lot of us have struggled with since we've developed chronic illness, whether it's just a few years ago or 10 years ago like me or even longer, and that is not being able to have children. For me, I knew since I was young that I wanted to have kids. I knew that I wanted to have like 3 or 4 children. I absolutely adore children. I think they're amazing. I think they're funny. I think they're pure. I think there's so much we can learn from them. And I just love to be in the company of children. They always warm my heart. They always brighten my day. And the fact that I wasn't able to have children for a long time was really devastating to me. And it's definitely an issue that a lot of people with chronic illness deal with, and that is the inability to have children because of our illness. Because I know for me, I always felt like during time periods I've been very sick and bedridden, I always felt like, I can barely take care of myself. I can barely function myself. How could I ever give to a child and take care of a baby? But I always felt like, well, I'll get better. I'll get better. I'm just going through a bad episode. I'll get better, and the time will be right. When I'll be able to have a child, it'll happen. It's just right now I'm sick, but I'm sure this will get better. I'm sure this will pass. And it never did. I never did get better. It never passed. And I didn't mean like someday, like I knew that it was chronic and it wasn't like going to go away, but I felt like I would get to a point in my illness where I would feel well enough to to have a child and to be able to dedicate that type of energy and time to a child. But that time just never came. And obviously, as the years went on, I'm 43 years old now, and now I definitely know I'm not going to have a child. And a lot of people, would say, well, how about, why don't you adopt? You could adopt a child, but that doesn't make sense, because that puts me in the same situation on why I didn't actually have a child, because, if I can't dedicate time and energy to my own child, how would I be able to do that for a child that I adopt? And it's not easy to adopt. It's a very, very difficult process. It costs money. So that wasn't an option for us either. And so I did eventually just have to come to terms with the fact that I'm not going to have children. And I have spent many, many nights up crying and just angry and even yelling and screaming at times. Just so angry about the fact and bitter that I won't have children and I will likely not raise a child. And I can honestly say that I'm at peace with it now. And I want to talk about how I was able to come to peace with it. And for all of us, we're all going to be different on how we deal with things and how we're able to come to terms with things. We're all going to be different. But I just want to share how I was eventually able to come to terms with the fact that I'm not going to have children. I'm not going to raise children. And that's just, not going to be part of my life. And for women, this is a huge deal. It's a big deal. And I'm sure there are men out there, it's a big deal as well. But with women, like, we are designed to have children. Our body is made to nurture and give birth to a child. And so that's why that urge in us is so strong. That desire, desire is a more appropriate term. That desire is so strong to have a child, because we are physically made to have a child. We are made to breastfeed a child. I mean, everything about our physical makeup is to give birth to and take care of a child. And so obviously, for those of us that couldn't have children, that's going to be a very, very devastating aspect of our lives. And it is a big deal. And so, so for many years, it was really hard for me to deal with the fact that I wasn't able to have a kid. But eventually, at some point, I had to come to terms with it. And I had to be at peace with it. Just like a lot of other things in my life that didn't work out the way I thought it would, and a lot of other things in my life that were stolen from me as a result of my illness, I eventually just had to come to terms with this fact. And this was by far the hardest issue for me to be able to be at peace with and let it go and just say, you know what, it's just not going to be in my life. And I have to accept it, and I still have to, find a way to enjoy my life. And I think the biggest thing that helped me, to be able to be at peace with it now, like I am, is to understand that I can still have a purpose in life, even if I don't have a child. And also, I'm grateful that I live in an age and in a society where having children isn't something that people put value on for women. Like, for example, even 50, 60 years ago, like back in the 50s, like, a woman's value was often determined by whether or not she had a child and what type of mother she was. And if she didn't have children, and there wasn't really a medical reason, besides like a chronic illness, I'm talking about, they were sterile for whatever reason, but if they didn't have children, for reasons other than being sterile for some reason, they were kind of looked down upon. And it's not like that anymore. There are a lot of people that haven't had children. And a lot of my friends that are in the same age range as me and are married in their 40s didn't have children. And that was a conscious choice. They just didn't want to have kids. And they're happy, they're at peace with it, and they're enjoying their life, and they're seeing the benefits of the freedom, and you can spend your money on what you want. You can get up and go, and You don't have the worry, that a lot of people deal with when you have children. Worrying about their safety, worrying about what type of people will they associate with. Was someone going to hurt them emotionally or physically? And I guess just to have that freedom, that you don't have to worry about those things. And so that was another thing that helped me as well, is the fact that I knew that people wouldn't look down on me because I never had children. Now, there are still some people out there that will say things like, well, it's not too late, you can still try, or again, you can adopt or whatever, where in their mind, like having a child like has to be part of my future. That's just what people do. They have kids, and you should find a way, you should figure it out. And it is harder for people that don't have children as a result of chronic illness than for people because they're sterile. And I don't mean that, emotionally it's harder for us. What I mean is that people do kind of look at that reason differently than people that couldn't have children, even though they tried. Like, people tend to have more compassion for people that couldn't have children because of the way their reproductive system is made up. They just couldn't, even though they tried, they couldn't, as opposed to people that couldn't have children because they had illness. And there are some people that honestly feel like, well, you should have had a child anyway and pushed through it and, figured it out or whatever. I mean, there are people that honestly do think that way. I mean, I've encountered, not many. I mean, most people, that I have encountered haven't been that judgmental of me, or, kind of looked at me like, like, you mean you could have like actually had the ability, but you didn't because of your illness, and you didn't try to push through, or, like, there are a couple people that I have met that were like that, but most people haven't been that way towards me. But again, for people with chronic illness, people can tend to be more judgmental just for that reason. And so, so that was another thing that did help me. Again, it's just, I didn't feel like I was being judged, by society, I guess, as a whole. Another thing, obviously, is being able to just look at the benefits of not having a child. And it's just, and I can't tell you how hard it was for me to be able to consciously think about the benefits of not having a child, because I know anybody that has a child would say that they don't know what they would do without their kids. Like, their kids are their life, their kids are everything to them. They would do anything for their children. Their children are amazing and wonderful, and there's the benefits by far outweigh, the challenges that come with raising a child. Like, they would say by far it outweighs it, by 500%, which is true. However, for me to be able to deal with the fact that I couldn't have children, I did have to consciously focus on the benefits. Financially, if my husband and I are in a tough place, we don't have to worry as much, because if it's just us, we can live very simple. If we can't, say, for example, buy presents for Christmas, we're adults. we're okay with that. It's not a big deal. But if we had children, that would have been devastating. And, especially with a lot of financial challenges we've had, it would have been so hard if we had children, to deal. It would have been so much harder, like 100,000 times harder if we had children, to look at our children, their little faces, and just feel like we can't provide for them the way that they should be provided for. And also, the benefit of not having to worry about something happening to my child, or, will they get hurt? Will somebody do something to them? Will they grow up to become addicted to drugs, or, whatever. I mean, I don't know, again, because I haven't had a child. I don't know if these are thoughts that a lot of people think about, or a lot. I don't know. But for me, I tend to be kind of a paranoid, anxious person, so I can definitely see myself, kind of being freaked out every time my kid was out somewhere, and especially as they start getting older. I can see myself being overprotective and stressed out and worrying too much. And I can totally see myself being that way. And so because I don't have children, I don't have that worry. I'm free from that worry. Another thing is we can live wherever we want. We don't have to worry about the school system. Is it going to be a good school system for our kids to go to? Like, for example, I have some friends, they're a couple, and they've been together like forever. And she's a wonderful friend of mine. I love her to pieces. And she lives in LA. And I went to go visit her about, I guess it's been a year since I went to go visit her. And they bought a beautiful, beautiful little home in LA. And it was in a really, really nice area. Well, where they were situated, the way that the zoning was for the city, like literally on, like the way that the backyard was for their neighbor that was over here, and the backyards kind of faced each other. This side of the property was South Pasadena, and the side of the property they were on was LA. And their house was literally, I think they said it was like $300,000 cheaper because they were on the LA side, as opposed to if they were on the South Pasadena side, even though they can literally see each other from their yards. And it was because of the school system. And they didn't have to worry about that because they didn't have kids. They were like, for us, it wasn't an issue at all. So, we were able to buy this house and, not worry about our kids not going to a good school. And so that is definitely, another benefit to not having children. You just have more freedom, to make different choices that if you had children, you would have to consider their needs and what you want for them. And so, again, these are just things that have helped me, be able to still enjoy my life and move forward with my life, even with the fact that knowing that I'm not going to have kids. And so I just want to encourage any of you out there that are dealing with this right now, and maybe you're like I was, crying yourself to sleep about it every night, feeling angry and bitter, feeling like a loser, pathetic. I mean, that's how I felt, and just feeling like it was a big dream of yours that didn't come true. And which is, a big dream for most people is to have children and raise a family. And for those of you that are feeling devastated about that right now, and maybe you're, this is a really tough time for you, there is still a purpose for your life. And I know right now, the pain, the emotional pain can feel unbearable. And it is something that you're just going to have to work through. And maybe you'll need to see a therapist. I personally didn't see a therapist or anything. I just was able to kind of work through this on my own. And also, my husband has never made me feel guilty, never made me feel bad, or, never, ever, not even to the slightest, because because we didn't have children. And that's actually another thing that's important for those of you that are young. And maybe you're dating right now, or you want to date, you want to meet someone. Make sure that whoever you end up marrying, or just, maybe you don't get married, but you just, know that you want to be lifetime partners. Make sure that this is something you talk about. If you have concerns or doubts that you're going to be able to have children because of your illness, this is something you need to discuss with your partner. And you have to make sure that your partner will be okay with that he's marrying you for you, and that if you're never able to have children, that he'll be okay with that, and you'll still be able to enjoy your life together, and he'll be supportive and won't make you feel bad, that it's not something that'll put a strain on the relationship. Because the last thing you want is, again, to have children and then you have resentment because your illness, is so terrible, and you can't take care of that child the way that you want to, and you have resentment towards yourself, and maybe even towards the child. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. I've seen people have resentment towards their child, even though it's not the child's fault, but we're still human, but so you don't want to end up in that type of situation. So make sure you are with someone who is comfortable and supportive of the fact that you may not be able to have children. And so that's something that's absolutely essential. So anyway, but yeah, I'm so grateful that my husband, has never put that guilt on me. But yes, remember, you can still have a purpose in life. You don't have to have children to have a purpose in life. There are still things that you can do in your life to feel like you're making a difference, to feel like you have some type of purpose. Like for me, I have my YouTube channel, and I have, just my passion towards helping people in special populations, helping people with disabilities and chronic illness or whatever. That's what I do. That's what I put my energy towards. So find something that you can be passionate about. Find something that you can have a purpose. Maybe it's volunteer work. Maybe it's fostering an animal, like something where you feel like you're still contributing, you're still doing something, where you feel like you have something to get up for every day. And it doesn't have to be a child. You don't have to have a child to have a fulfilling life. And you don't have to have a child, to have a life that you can be proud of. You can still have a wonderful life that you can be proud of, even if you're not able to have children. And it's just important that you know that and that you understand that. And so so if you are, in the midst, of grieving over, I guess in a sense, the loss of a child. I mean, I know it's not the same as having a child and losing it. I know that's a lot more devastating than not being able to have a child. At least I think it is, but if you are going through the grieving process of, the loss of that dream, the loss of the ability to have a child, just know that you can still enjoy life. You can still, find ways that you can have a purpose. But at some point, you have to move on. You can't stay stuck in that state of depression and bitterness and anger, towards yourself, your body, God, the universe, whatever it is, you cannot stay stuck in that state. Even though it is something that you do have to work through, they are emotions that you do have to feel. And again, maybe you need maybe a therapist would help you, or just talking with friends or family, whatever it is that you need, to help you work through it. Just know you have to move on at some point. You can't stay angry and bitter about not being able to have children. And just, about having chronic illness, like at some point you have to find a way that you can still enjoy your life and just, come to terms and be at peace with the fact that this is your reality. You're not going to let it ruin your life. You're not going to let it take your joy away from you. And you're going to work through it, and you're still going to find a way that you can have a purpose, and you can still find a way that you can be productive on a different scale, a different level than maybe before you got sick. But there are still ways that you can make positive impact in people's lives, in your own life, what have you. So, all right, guys, I do want to do an exercise video next week. That's the plan, but again, we'll see how I feel, because it really has been taking a lot from me driving for Lyft. And until we get a car, and then I won't have to drive as much when we finally get a car, and I'll be able to dedicate more time and energy, to you guys and to this channel and providing the content that I want to provide to help you improve the quality of your life. So if you want to support the channel, remember, you can check out the merchandise that we have at Teespring. And I actually started another account called Redbubble, but I haven't put a whole lot of stuff on there I'll try to take that. I just haven't had time. I'll try to take time to put more of Saul's artwork and designs. But they have more products, like more things that you can choose from on that website too. So I'll put the link just for at least what we have there so far. But I plan on adding more of Saul's artwork. But yeah, if you want to support the channel, you know, investing in merchandise would be it's a wonderful way to do it. And of course, you can always donate to Patreon, and it'll make it, you know, possible for me to dedicate more time and energy, you know, to my channel and to you guys. So, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and so that way in the future, when I am able to dedicate more time, you don't miss out, you know, on content that's going to help you, you know, emotionally and physically with your life. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I always appreciate your time and attention. Remember, take care of yourself, protect yourself physically and emotionally, and don't forget, your health is your most valuable asset. Invest in it. Bye-bye.